My Dark Angels. I've painted a lot of Green Wing so far, but when people think of the Dark Angels, what they mostly think about is the Deathwing. These guys. Remember these? Terminators? Never been upscaled to Primaris? Travesty because they're such cool minis. But the Deathwing colour palette, I don't think it really works with the closest proxies we've got. Aggressors. Much like my Green Wing, I wanted to make something that was the same but different. Was a little bit more me, but still had that lineage of being classic Games Workshop, just with a modern twist on it. Much like the miniatures, in fact. Well, I think I've come up with something that really works. I like it. Hopefully you will too. Let's get to the paint desk, have a look how I came up with my Dark Angels Deathwing scheme for my Aggressors. Okay guys, so let's kick it off. First thing I've done is I base coated the entire model in Citadel's Xandri Dust. Just makes it nice and easy as a start off, and you'll notice I'm painting in sub-assemblies as always. Next up, grabbed the airbrush and sprayed all the parts that I wanted to be black with black, just taking it nice and slow, nice thin coats, hitting everything just from all the various angles here. I'm not being too precious about what I hit with the black. It's going to have an overall grimy, grimdark tone to it anyway, so a little bit of overspray we can clean up later. But you know, don't be too precious. Right, so let's get some bright highlights going on. I'm using pure white here, and all I'm going to do is hit the top surfaces of the mini. Now, this is going to be a little bit of underpainting, but what I want to do is just increase the tonal contrast between the base colour and the top highlight for when we put the next layer on. So again, just go slowly, hit where the light would naturally hit, and don't worry about hitting the black. We want to hit the black as well because we're going to sort that out a little bit further on. Don't worry about that. Okay, so here we go. Now we're going to put the main colour down. I'm using Vallejo Bone White here. I've watered it down, well, I've thinned it, not watered it down, quite a lot, so it's a real milky consistency. Now it's already quite a thin paint, but what I want to do is get to the point where those white highlights are still showing through, and I just hit the model from all angles, not underneath. We want that dark Xandri Dust still to be the darkest shadow in the base of the armour colour. Make sure you work slowly in nice thin coats. Next up, we're going to hit that black. Now, a little bit of a cheat method here. A little bit of thinned down Citadel contrast paint just over the top of that base colour of the black, and where the highlight of the whites hit, it's going to give us the natural highlights on the blacks as well. Important step now. Once you've finished all of your other details, if you've not seen my other videos, I'll link those. Hit the entire model with some satin varnish. Now what we want to do is lock in everything we've done, because this next step can be quite aggressive and you can take some of the layers of paint off. So protecting it, giving it that protective barrier of the varnish really does help. And what I'm going to use here is AK Interactive's Dark Brown Wash. Now this is quite a fun step guys, I'm not going to lie. Just slather this all over the armour. I'm getting the metal parts as well, but I'm avoiding the reds and the chest eagle, anything like that, so primarily sticking to the armour. Now don't worry, there's a couple of things on here that I've not talked about in this video tutorial, but I'll either link to where I've previously covered it, like painting the chest eagles and things like that, or I'll be covering in an upcoming video like that tasty glow coming out of the power pack. So take your time with this again. It's an enamel paint and it is a little bit different to the type of paints you're probably used to, but you need to hit all of the bone colour here because this is what's going to give the actual finished colour to the mini. Now we're going to take a lot of it back off, but in the deepest recesses we want this still to be on the model. It gives a real contrast between the high points and the low points of the armour, but without going super black-white contrast. So we're still staying in the same range. I absolutely adore this colour, it's so useful, and it's something that I've really started to grow accustomed to using these enamel washes. AK Interactive do a fantastic job. So here you see I'm using some mineral spirits. Yeah, whichever you can get your hands on. A cotton bud, Q-tips, whatever you want to call them. And I'm going to gently start to wipe away some of that wash that we've put on. Now, you need to do this over all the model, and what I do is start at the parts where the light would be hitting mostly. So work your way around the model, just getting it all off, occasionally using the dryer tip, and swapping when you need to. They do get dirty. Now, you will notice here as well, those Boltstone gauntlets look a little bit different to the stock minis. So those gun barrels are some that I've modelled myself and 3D printed, and if you want those for your own aggressors, then there's a link down in the description over to my website where you can download them for free and print them out. Do enjoy them. This part does take a while, the removing of the grime on there, but it really does help. And if you do it in layers, you can build up layers of brightness. So as you'll see, I'm hitting the head a little bit harder and coming back with a fresh Q-tip and just taking some more off to let that the bright highlights really show through. And then the final step, just to draw attention to the face, any points that you want, is I'm just going to edge highlight using white again. I know white is the ultimate contrast, but it just brings attention to where we want people to be looking. So, the highest parts of the model, you don't have to edge highlight everything, just the sharpest corners, anywhere that's of significant interest. Well, there you have it, guys. That was a really simple scheme, dead straightforward, fast to paint, and using a technique that's not entirely new to me, but something that's a little bit different. I'm super happy with how they came out. Really can't tell you how much I'm into that look of them. All of the bone white armor on the classic Terminators was a little bit too much. Mixing it with that black like I've done with my green wing, really, really cool. Could not be happy with them. Hopefully, I'm going to be able to use these in the new kill team. The compendium should arrive tomorrow, so we'll see. Let me know what you think. What are you going to be running in kill team? What do you think of these Dark Angels? Why don't you let me know how you paint your Dark Angels? I'd love to hear from you. Well, guys, if you've not, do subscribe. It really does help the channel out, and what I want to do is grow a community and give something back to the community that's given me so much. So, all that's left to be said is, until next week, guys, remember, if you're going to do crack, make sure it's plastic. See ya!